What's up, everyone? This is the Fraser podcast where we talk sports, travel, some comedy here and there. Today, we are talking travel and we are doing 22 unique cities you must visit in hopefully 22 minutes. So, keeping it short, sweet, but some places you may not have heard of or thought to visit. Some places I'm sure you've heard of, but I'm just going to reinforce that you have to visit quickly, sufficiently, and it's probably not going to take 22 minutes, but now you've already invested 36 seconds. So I've got you. You're not going to leave now. Please don't leave now. Let's get into it. The goal of this podcast is to find places that will give you experiences you can't get anywhere else. If you've traveled a bunch, I'm sure you've been to a lot of beaches. A beach is a beach. You go to the Caribbean and land on the beach. Not for me, although there are some cool places in the Caribbean, of course, you can go to. But this is for adventures. This is for activities, for seeing some just incredible places and unique experiences you can only get in these cities or villages. It's aimed at natural beauty, culture, unique things to do. So yeah, we want to find you fun, unique adventure, get you off just laying on a beach or staying at an all-inclusive. Not to shit on that, but I typically shit on all-inclusive resorts because you don't leave the resort and you do nothing else but live in the pool. You can do that in Scottsdale or in Florida. Why would you travel around the world to go do this? Makes no sense. Go visit other cities, eat all the unique food, hole-in-the-wall places, street food, experience other cultures, get out of the resort. So, also places like Paris, London, Barcelona, Tokyo, Vancouver in Canada, Venice, Dubai aren't on the list because you don't need me to tell you to go to these places. If you're listening to a podcast or reading a blog to tell you to go to Bangkok or New York, I don't know. I guess I'm screwing up since I don't talk about that enough. Let's get into it. Actually, some honorable mentions I've never been to, which I would love to go. Just a few, but like Istanbul, Lisbon or Porto, Dubrovnik, Budapest, Marrakesh, a few places in Africa I would love to go to. They're not on the list either. So this is a great list. I shouldn't even told you that. Some amazing places across the world you have to visit. Europe, Asia, South America, everywhere. Number 1. This would be higher on my list. This is number 22, actually. And let's see if I remember which number we're at. 22, going from 22 to number 1, Luang Prabang in Laos. It would be higher on this list, but I wanted to throw a more unique spot at you right out of the gates. So I wasn't like saying, oh, you need to go to, I don't know, something that is simple and everyone goes to. I'm giving you something unique right out of it that I don't know anyone aside from myself and Trey that have gone to. So it is, I don't know, it could be like the setting of a movie in a small Asian village, whether it could be, I don't know, a rom-com, a karate movie, a cultural movie, a documentary. It's just this tiny town with like 33 temples in it. There are monks that do like their morning daily. I forget the word is I got down here in my notes. I just forget the what's the walk called? Well, they do a really cool walk through town every morning. The alms ceremony, where they you just have to go see it. It's something special. There are incredible waterfalls. The Kwangsi Falls and hike is immaculate. There are elephant sanctuaries. It's full of temples, as I mentioned. There's a night market and a food market, which is one of the best in the world. It's almost like a buffet of what's it called? Stir fry, where you say, it's like 10 different noodles, 40 different vegetables, different meats, different this, that, sauces, spices. And it's just so authentic. And it's like $1. It was $1 when we went. And then I think protein, actually, extra proteins cost a little bit more. But you're just stuffing yourself like a Mongolian grill, but just in this market. It's such an experience. It also is home to my favorite meal I've ever had on earth, which you can go into. I've got an article, which on inspiredtravelite.com. That was my 17 favorite meals I've ever had on Earth. But it's just this Laotian. I'm screwing this up, but hot pot, next to none. It's incredible. Luang Prabang, you have to go visit it, and yeah, just do an Asian tour and make sure this is one of your stops. Got a couple other Asian places. Hopefully, you can bind them all into your 2 week Asian tour. I always suggest at least 2 weeks for Asia because you lose a day flying there and flying back. And there's so much to see. Obviously, there's a ton of Asian countries, but Southeast Asia is the best. I love it. Check it out. Next, Noosa Heads in Australia, or I could even go Byron Bay, but I'm going Noosa Heads. I don't pick many surf towns. As mentioned, a beach is a beach, but Noosa Heads just has this charm and is the most quintessential, perfect surf town you could ever find in the world. There is world-class surfing. There is pristine, like sandbar type beaches, the crystal clear blue waters. It's, of course, a gateway to Fraser Island, the famous Fraser Island, and the Great Barrier Reef along the way. That whole east coast of Australia is stunning. So you can check that out. There's the Noosa National Park Coastal Trail, where you can see wild koalas. There are Everglades that you can go through. They're the only Everglades on Earth where you can safely swim, which doesn't make any sense because Australia is the most dangerous place on Earth when it comes to nature, with the snakes and the alligators and the spiders. Yet somehow they have really safe Everglades. It makes absolutely no sense. But you can do that there. Great, of course, restaurants and such, as you can imagine, just beach feel. There are some great hikes and lookouts like Mount Tinbirwa or Laguna Lookout, kayaking with the chance to see dolphins, sea life, snorkeling, farmers markets, basically everything else that you'd think. But it truly is just that perfect beach town. So that's number 21. Number 20, Varanasi, India. It is also known as Benares, which I'm not pronouncing correctly. It is the holiest city in India. It's said to be the birthplace of Buddhism, the ultimate pilgrimage spot for Hinduism, as well as a couple other religions where it's said to either be part or all of the origin there. So I can't explain it better than Mark Twain. So let me give you a Mark Twain quote. Varanasi is older than history, older than tradition, older even than legend, and looks twice as old as all of them put together. So I can't say I love Varanasi. I can't say I loved India, but it truly is a life-altering, life-changing experience, place to visit. As mentioned, you can stay on a beach wherever you want around the world. There's only one Varanasi, and there's only one experience you will ever have like this. There's the Ganges River, which is the most holy river in the world, and you will see people put their deceased loved ones on a raft, set it ablaze, yes, set it on fire, and push it down the Ganges River in their holy ceremony, their holy funeral, which, as you can imagine, quite a shocking sight to see. They have a ton of spiritual and enchanting ghats. Ghats are like these steps leading down to the river, which are used for rituals, for bathing, and aforementioned cremation. It truly is out of a documentary. I would imagine there's a ton of documentaries made of Varanasi. Get out of your comfort zone. Check it out. You go through these like little hallway type walkways through town. There's no vehicles. It's just out of a movie set. It's incredible. Monkeys are jumping from side to side. There are snake charmers, which I think are illegal, but they still will pop up and say, hey, give me some money and we'll do a snake charm. And cobras pop out of pots and they start doing snake charming like it's Aladdin. It is insane. Once in a lifetime. So that is number 20 on the list of places you must visit, unique places you must visit soon. Number 19, not unique. I just want to make sure you know to go to Colombia and check out Medellin. I don't love Cartagena. Bogota was actually oddly really cool. I like that a lot. But Medellin, I would say, is the number one place to go in Colombia. It is known as the city of eternal spring, with typically year round, perfect ish temperature. And it's one of the most majestic cities you might ever come across. The city itself is just set in this valley, I guess you would call it. Skyscrapers everywhere. And then surrounded by just green, lush mountains. Colombia is the second most biodiverse country on the planet behind Brazil. So Medellin, you just have this urban metropolitan center smack in the middle of a jungle. And then you've got the slums on the hillside and Comuna 13, which is notorious for what happened with the drug trade in Colombia, and Pablo Escobar, which is now is a popular tourist destination where you can get guided tours through Comuna 13 just to learn the history of the slums in Colombia as well as what happened back then. Um, it's so unique. There are cable cars just going to the top of the mountain through town. So like full on, what are they called? Like gondolas, just you know, through town for, and you're on them for a half an hour. Definitely, like it's not some quick ride. You're dangling over Medellin for quite some time, and takes you up to an incredible park with tons of hikes, and it's a once in a lifetime place. It's really cheap. That's another great thing about Colombia. You can just stay there at some gorgeous places for relatively inexpensive versus like a Europe or whatever USA. It checks pretty much every box to travel. There's also incredible dining, shopping, urban areas, coffee tours. You can go historic centers like El Centro or La Candelaria, and yeah, rooftops. You could just go and do rooftop dining and drinking and have an incredible time. So it's gorgeous place. You have to check it out. Also, you can go to Guatape, which has just Google Guatape. I can't really explain it. It's just a town with a giant mountain in the middle that is out of a screensaver. It's a must go. It's also cheap-ish to fly into. A lot of direct flights from the United States, and I think some from Canada. So that's 19th on the list, I want to say. Hopefully, I haven't lost count already. Number 18. This one makes the list of unique places you have to travel to because it's just so damn easy to get to from the United States or Canada. I'm talking about Sayulita, Mexico. When I think of the perfect little Latin American beach town, I think of Nosara in Costa Rica or Samara in Costa Rica, where I live now, Roatan in Honduras, Tulum in Mexico 25 years ago, definitely not now, San Juan del Sur in Nicaragua 20 years ago, again, Placencia in Belize, but then Sayulita wins. All have their charm, and there are other, of course, beach towns in Panama and everywhere else, but Boca del Toro's in Panama. But Sayulita is, I live in Phoenix or lived in Phoenix, split time in Phoenix, 2.5 hours, $250 to $350 round trip, and it's you land in the Port of Art airport, 45-minute taxi or Uber to your hotel. You can leave your door at 7 a.m. in the morning and be in your hotel at 1, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, which I don't think anywhere is like that to go on a tropical vacation these days anymore. It's like just to go from Phoenix to where I live now in Samara, it is a 17-hour day. It's horrific. This is nothing. It's like 7 hours door to door, and you're in paradise, sipping a margarita, eating some of my favorite restaurant, top 5 restaurant in the world is in Sayulita. Go to inspiretravelite.com and just search Sayulita on my website, and you'll see some great restaurants in Sayulita you have to eat at. There's a bunch of amazing restaurants. Sayulita has 4 or 5 wow restaurants I absolutely love. There's great surfing. There's hiking from the main beach to like secret beaches through the jungle and secret caves. There's turtle nesting. The cobblestone streets of Sayulita, and they have restaurants where they line up the tables on the cobblestone streets as if you're in Italy. It's just really cool. I love it. It's of course getting larger and larger and more discovered. Hopefully, it doesn't become a Tulum anytime soon. So it still got its charm. Check it out as soon as you can before it does lose that charm. And I absolutely love it. I think we're at 18 best places to visit, unique places to visit. This one is not unique, but I just don't know a ton of people have been to Auckland, New Zealand. Auckland, New Zealand is a major city. Again, I said I wouldn't say, oh, go to New York, go to Sydney, go to, but Auckland's just unique because, again, not a ton of people, most people go to Australia over New Zealand who haven't traveled a ton. Where Auckland, it's got that metropolitan feel, but you can go from sitting on the harbor at a five-star restaurant or a trendy bar, and in 45 minutes to be on an island at a winery, or in 45 minutes to go the other way and be at the what's called the Waikatari Ranges. I feel like I may blow that name, but yeah, the Waitakere Ranges, where you're hiking up majestic waterfalls and panoramic beaches. One of the coolest views I've ever seen was hanging over this waterfall. You go to the edge and you just overlook the jungle, and you're just sitting there. It is something else. That whole area, there's black sand beaches, there's regular beaches. Like I said, there's a winery, multiple wineries in the area, one on an island where you can just go on a winery tour and hang out and drink wine overlooking the ocean. It's got that metropolitan thing, all the things you want, and then tons of adventure, beautiful beaches. You can hike up to Mount Eden. There's tons of day trips. There's the mermaid pools, hot springs in Hobbiton aren't too far away for a long day trip. So I love Auckland. Check it out. I think we're on number 17. Again, not a mind blowing one. I promise the ones that we get closer are a lot more unique. I just had to save the best for last. But a lot of people don't go to Kauai. My favorite island in Hawaii, the best island of the Hawaiian Islands. Most people go to Maui, of course, Honolulu. Kauai is known as the Garden Island and is one of the best places on earth. It's just wow. I mean, enormous waterfalls. There, it just seems like you're in Jurassic Park. The mountains, the green, lush mountains, the waterfalls, the enchanting blue water. There's Waimea Canyon, which is like their version of the Grand Canyon, but it's on this Kauai, which is insane. It's it's special. There is Napoli Coast State Park, Queen's Bath, a ton of falls like Wailua Falls, swim with sea turtles. Some of the best hikes in the world are there, like Hanakapiai Falls, or Awapuhi Trail, which I think I screwed that up as well. But check the website and inspiretravelelite.com. I'll have this all listed there. But literally two of the best hikes you'll ever have on Earth, and that does include the Waimea Canyon, which also has stunning hikes. So I could go on. If you have to go to somewhere in Hawaii, go to Kauai. It's definitely sleepy. I don't think there's much nightlife from what I remember in any of the main towns, which is fine. Go there on a honeymoon or a family trip. Don't expect to party, but just go enjoy this beautiful place. I think we're number 16. I had to throw a Canadian place in there. It's not Vancouver, because I said I wouldn't throw in the obvious. Vancouver is one of the most beautiful cities on earth. Go there if you've never been. It was almost Banff, but Banff has just turned into a Instagram place. It's also extremely expensive. A beautiful place if you have the chance. We're going to Kelowna, British Columbia. I am biased because I lived there at some point, but it's one of the best towns in Canada. It's the best town in Canada. I'm sorry. And if you want proof, I would say 75% at least of Canadian hockey players have their summer home there. There's the gorgeous lake. There is a world-class ski resort, wineries. It's Canada's wine region. If you're from that area in Ontario, stop trying to claim that that's wine region. It's not. It's trash, and then it's ridiculous. Don't even compare yourself to Kelowna. That's blasphemy. But there's wineries over the rolling hills where you can just go winery hopping for multiple days. It has a ton of incredible hikes, biking trails, and it's just a stone's throw from other random lakes throughout the Okanagan, which is called the region. Um, so if you visit Canada, I would highly suggest a Vancouver and Kelowna trip. Sprinkle in Banff if you can. It's a bit of a stretch to get. I think it's only 7 hours from what I remember. I haven't done the old Kelowna to Banff trip maybe ever. One time I think I did it. Regardless, maybe two. But those are some places to go. Number 16, I think we're at, or 15, most unique place to visit. Manuel Antonio, Costa Rica. Live in Costa Rica now. I could tell you a ton of places to go, but Manuel Antonio just has it all. It's one of the most biodiverse regions ever. There's just, you go through the national park and you see three different kinds of monkeys, sloths, bats, the fer de lance viper, which is one of the deadliest, I think the most poisonous pound for pound animal in Costa Rica, um, and a million other animals along the way. And then you finish at the beach, and the beach is immaculate. World class beach. You can also surf on it. Then there are day trips where you can go to one of the most majestic waterfalls I've ever seen in my life, um, along with another majestic waterfall. And there's whitewater rafting you can do on day trips, zip lining, all that fun stuff. Costa Rica really is the creator of adventure tourism. So much fun stuff to do. If you have 14 days, 10 days is pushing it, but if you have 10 to 14 days in Costa Rica, go to Manuel Antonio and La Fortuna if you love adventure. Again, go to inspiretravel.com and just search Costa Rica for the best 15 things to do across all those things. So I love Manuel Antonio. Also on the way, if you do a shuttle from San Jose where you fly into, there's Crocodile Bridge where you can stop at the bridge and just witness a ton of crocodiles, massive crocodiles below you. And there's also a point of macaws where you can check out hundreds of macaws, for sure 10s or 20s or 30s, depending when you go, just flying around. So that's quite a sight as well. So many animals, so many adventures, breathtaking views. The restaurants are incredible, overlooking the ocean and the jungle. I was eating at this one beautiful place, and just like a sloth was right there in the tree next to me. And the tree had to be 100 feet high, and it was just hanging out while I had this view of the ocean and the jungle. It really is something to see. I would say the best place in Costa Rica. The only negative thing in Costa Rica and why this isn't higher on the list is Costa Rica is just so damn expensive. I've got some other places that are a lot cheaper. So if money isn't an option, go to Costa Rica. Or money's not an issue, I guess. Go to Costa Rica. It's still affordable, but it's just when you expect to go to Latin America, you're like, oh, everything's going to be cheap like Mexico. No. Not in Costa Rica, sadly. But I have some spots for you, so just keep on listening. Next, I lost track. I think we're 14th best unique places to visit. Bruges in Belgium. I recently went on a trip to Paris, Venice, Lille, and Bruges, and I think Bruges was our favorite. It's just, people call it a poor man's Amsterdam. I call it a less traveled Amsterdam. Between the medieval architecture, the cobblestone streets, the belfry towers, it just reminds me of like you just walk back in time. There's this park where you can just have, obviously they're famous for their beers, have a massive beer next to this lake and like castle-ish stuff and churches around you and like a really cool bridge. I don't know how to explain it. The cobblestone, I'm a sucker for cobblestone streets. If you have cobblestone streets, I'm automatically in love. I don't know why. It's just cool. But the architecture, it's such a small town. There's also restaurants all along the road, which again, I love. I'm a sucker for restaurants on the road. Great places to eat. Small, so much charm. I love Bruges. It's in Belgium, if you didn't know. I don't know if I said Bruges, Belgium to start off, but you will fall in love with it. Certainly, you probably don't need to stay for a week there, but if you have time, 3 to 5 days, highly worth it. I love Bruges, so check that out. Next, on the best places to visit, unique places to visit, Chiang Mai, Thailand. I'm a bit of a hater of Thailand. I went 20 years ago or more. Yeah, more now. Well, maybe 20. And it's obviously, it was already pretty touristy and Americanized, for lack of a better term, then. It's even significantly more so there now. So I tell you other places, which we'll get to. Instead of going to Thailand, you go to the Cambodias, the Vietnams, because that will be like Thailand was 20 or 30 years ago. Um, but Chiang Mai sticks out above all other Thailand. It's north in, I guess I want to call it the jungle-ish, a town in surrounded by the jungle, and they're a trek. You have to do a jungle trek where you go for, I'm sure you can do multiple, more than 2 or 3 nights, but you can go for 2 or 3 nights and just go through these little villages, try all this interesting food. We ate rat, barbecued rat, these little lakes along the way, play soccer with locals, play, shoot, I forget the name, but they play a soccer volleyball with a little, I know the name, it's escaped me, but it's like a little wicker ball. All of a sudden, hearts popped up on my screen. A little wicker ball. I wish I remember it, but it's a cool game. That's very hard. Um, yeah, Chiang Mai. The food, one of my favorite meals ever was in Chiang Mai. They're elephant sanctuaries, which I think before they were, now in Asia everyone calls them elephant sanctuaries because once they got shamed about it being just like a zoo. um, but hopefully they're well taken care of now, and a lot more attention is brought to those elephant conservatories. There are temples, of course. There's street food, markets. It really is just a perfect Asian city. Chiang Mai, Thailand. You must visit that on your trip. Next is Singapore. I know it's not another groundbreaking one, but it's just a wow. There's two major cities on this list. I guess three if you include Auckland, that you just see, and it's the most unique thing you've ever seen on Earth. Singapore is like you've gone into the future, but there's also like gardens, and it's just immaculate. It's so clean. There's a lot of really crazy rules, like you can go to jail for throwing gum on the ground. Maybe not jail, but check out, if you have a second on your hands, Google crazy Singapore rules, because it can be scary. But it's made such a stunning town out of it, or city out of it. But so modern, the futuristic architecture. It's got like a world famous culinary scene. I have a ton of superlatives that I could go on about Singapore, but you just have to visit it. The only negative is so damn expensive. I think it's the most expensive city on earth, literally. And you're like that in Monaco. Um, Maybe just go, if you're on a budget, go for just 2 or 3 nights and check it out, and then get out of there. I like to use it as a hub to fly into Asia, so that way you can like fly into Asia. Because let's say you're going to Luang Prabang, it's like a 38-hour flight because you have to stop so many times. Go to Singapore. It's typically a nonstop flight, cheaper as well. Stay there, check out this amazing city, and then the flights within Asia are so cheap once you're there. So then you catch a $100 flight to Luang Prabang, or $200 at most. I think it would be like 100. And then that way you're not spending 38 hours flying. You experience a new city, and also it might even save you some money with the cost of the flight and all that kind of stuff. But Singapore also has the greatest zoo on earth. You can just walk, and there's monkeys free walking around. They have some biodomes that you go into with, like, I don't know if it was a red panda, but it may have been a red panda, and just animals just frolicking around you. They're just walking around. You don't touch them, of course. I don't think a red panda was there. It was too, what do you call it? Too rare, endangered. But there are a lot of cool animals just walking around you, and birds. It's the coolest place on earth. Then you must have a drink on Marina Bay. I can go on. The Cloud Gardens, the Cloud Forest, sorry, the Super Tree Grove. It's wow. Next on the list of unique places you have to visit, Havasupai, Arizona. It is one of my favorite places on earth, probably top 3 favorite places on earth. I just don't know how. I'll try to explain it. It's now world famous. A lot of people, especially with Instagram and everything, people have seen it. You would never think this place was in Arizona or North America. You'd think it'd be in the jungle of Brazil, but it's a one of a kind experience. You are cut off from civilization. There's no cell service. You pack in your own food, your own camp. You put a camp next to this turquoise, picturesque river that goes through, and you fall asleep to. And then you hike to a few of the most stunning waterfalls you'll ever come across, and some smaller ones, and just the entire miles that you walk, something new pops up that's more pretty. There's like natural showers you can go into, and this green pasture of ivy that's, I don't know, explain it. It's unreal. And there's the confluence that you can continue to walk to. That's where the Colorado meets, which is like a muddy river, and the turquoise blue from Havasupai meet, and it creates just this yin and yang of brown and turquoise where they join, and it's something else. You have to go. Again, go to inspiredtravelweek.com for the full how to get tickets, passes. They're the hardest pass on earth to get, pretty much. And check it out. Havasupai, Arizona. Next on the list, one of the metropolitan areas, but I just have to tell you, go to, because a lot of people are scared of it. Forget about me being robbed and extorted by police after their Mexico versus Canada game. But Mexico City, Mexico, you have to go. It is one of the most unique and coolest cities on earth. It's literally like different areas of this. It's massive, by the way. If you fly, I remember one time I flew into Mexico City like 15 years ago, and you, like, for a what do you call it, where I was going to, like, Cancun or something. It was a stop on the way, and so you enter the city, and then just like you're 10 minutes later, you're still flying over the city, and then 15 minutes later, you're still flying over the city. It's enormous, and then it'll go from a juxtaposition of slums to skyscrapers to greenery to skyscrapers to slums to tents on a hill. It is just remarkable, and like nothing else you'll ever see. But with that said, CDMX, which is also called, is truly like portions of Rome, Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, the pyramids of Egypt. They've got pyramids there. They've got their own version of Rodeo Drive in LA, which is not, oh, it's Mexico. No, it's like you could think you were dropped in Los Angeles or New York. It is, they have a Central Park, or a park that is bigger than Central Park, that also is like very bustling and metropolitan. It's not some ding, whatever, some rustic little Mexican park. No, it's like a full on park you would think would be in the United States. There's tons of areas of skyscrapers, incredible food, ruins, architecture, museums, markets. It's truly, I think, has to be one of the coolest, if not most unique, massive cities in the world. Go check it out. Mexico City. Again, there's like a Venice. There's canals you can go on a trip and just go down these little canals in Mexico. It's not like Venice at all, but it's actually still really cool. So you could have 2 different vacations. You could have 17 different vacations. One person could go there and just go on rooftops and eat 5-star restaurants, cocktails on the rooftop, shopping on that Rodeo Drive, stay at 5-star hotels, or you could go into like the true culture markets, the historic center, and live that side of Mexico City. It's something else. You have to check it out. I've got a podcast about my robbery story. If you cliffhanger there, if you've never heard it, I'm sure most people who listen to this podcast have heard it. But search the podcast if you want to hear my the scariest moment of my life, which happened in Mexico City. I was extorted and robbed by police and beaten. I'm like a modern day Martin Rodney King. That's terrible to say. I don't know why I said that. I told you there was some comedy in this podcast. I don't know if that's not comedy to you. Maybe you already deleted this podcast. You're gone. Well, moving on. San Ignacio, Belize. You're obviously seeing a trend here. Belize is known for their beaches and their islands. San Ignacio is another charming and scenic town that you must visit if you love the outdoors. It's got the ATM caves, the Acton Tunichil Muknel caves, where there's skeletons in it, and you go and see this. You're not allowed to take pictures in there, so there's no pictures of this place, no phones. And you like splunk, you traverse, you swim, you crawl through these caves. So if you're not good in tight spaces, don't go on this trip. And you just go through like this inner working of caves that was this once place where people lived, and there was a burial site. And it's one in a million type places to visit. There's cave tubing in other parts of the town or around it. You can walk to the top of giant ruins and overlook the entire jungle. There's other caves to visit, swimming holes, waterfalls, horseback riding, typical tourist stuff, visit markets. I could go on. It's also only 2 hours from Flores in Guatemala, where I would say definitely the top three ruins in the world are. I think, anyways. Number one's on this list, and maybe number two's on the yeah, it's at the top, anyways, of ruins. And one of the few you can actually climb up on in Tikal. So if you have time, do a San Ignacio and Tikal trip, which is in Guatemala. And Flores, the town in Guatemala, is really charming as well with some cool stuff to do. So check out San Ignacio, Belize. Now we're getting into the top, I want to say 7 of most unique places you must visit as soon as possible before they become just giant and overrun. This one, I guess, is very well known as well. Trust me, the top 4 are incredible, so stick around. We're almost there. San Juan, Puerto Rico. It just has it all. It's a captivating place. It's on the water. It's got old San Juan, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, with its cobblestone streets. There are a couple of fortresses that you go in, and you're just walking through time, which is really cool. And little shops, restaurants, incredible beaches up and down the coast. There's a bioluminescent area that's a little bit further away from San Juan, but you can do a day trip there or a night trip to see the bioluminescence. There's also El Yunque National Forest, where you can go for some serene hikes and see waterfalls. The cuisine there is outrageously good. A ton of other unique things to do and see in San Juan. Really, yeah, it's got beaches, history, culture, food, hiking. Offers so much. Is a must visit. On to the next place, Chania in Greece. Skip Santorini, skip Mykonos. They're just overrun with influencers. Chania is a great city to visit on the island of Crete and be kind of a home base for your Crete vacation or trip. It's a picturesque town that is actually like built in an old fortress. So imagine just like fortress walls and everything, and then there's apartments that are built within it and beside it and as part of it. It's like something out of Game of Thrones. There's a harbor that a lighthouse is there, and like used to have, what's it called, where you can't get in unless they allow you. Sorry, don't have the word for it. I've got a lot of words. I'm spewing at you now. Can't have them all. Food, exquisite people. Yeah, it's just a walk through time. The small little streets and walkways you go through. I love it. You can also go to Samaria Gorge, which is an incredible hike nearby. There is the gorgeous harbor, and there is Balos Beach and Elafonisi Beach, which are immaculate beaches nearby that you can visit as well. So Chania in Greece, I love it. Athens is, if you don't know this, Athens is a shithole. Some people call it the armpit of Europe. Go there because you fly into there if you're going to Greece, and maybe stay for a night so you can kind of do the main things, but quickly get out of there. I can't believe how bad it is. A couple posh, we'll call it, friends told me it's not good, but they're just posh, and so I didn't believe them. It's not good. This will be my last major city I talk about, but if you've never been, I just need to reinforce, you have to go right now. Rome, Italy is, I think, the best major city on earth. I don't know how to. There's things you know about Rome, right? The Colosseum, the Vatican, and other things that are not coming right now. But I had no idea about 75% of Rome until I got there. It's like you turn a corner and there's something new that you've never heard of that is enormous, architectural brilliance. Oh yeah, of course, everyone knows the Spanish Steps, the Trevi Fountain. Those are well known. The Pantheon. I always forget which one's the Pantheon and which one's the Parthenon. One's in Athens, aforementioned Athens, and one's in Rome. I think the Parthenon. I'm not going to guess. I should know this. I'm an expert, according to no one. But Rome, especially Rome at night. If you have a chance to stroll Rome at night, it's enchanting. What they did, the architecture, again, cobblestone streets, the food. I don't was never a coffee drinker, and I would just drink a cappuccino, and it was the greatest thing I've ever tasted. Obviously, the pasta. It was there's so many different plazas that are gorgeous. It truly is awe-inspiring. The greatest city to visit, I think, on earth. It's like no other. So check out Rome if you've never been. If you're a big traveler, I'm sure you've been to Rome, and I wasted your time because this is supposed to be about unique places to visit. I just want to make sure you know you have to go to Rome. Now we're down to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 left. Fourth, unique place to visit in the world. You have to visit ASAP, Sapa in Vietnam. Sapa is nothing short of unforgettable and enchanting. You may not know, but there's probably multiple screensavers of Sapa that you've seen over time on computers throughout your life or phones. It has the rice terraces, the rice fields that, of course, are picturesque. You could just be dropped, if you've never been to Switzerland, you could be dropped in Sapa and think you're in Switzerland, hiking the giant mountain there that you can also take a cable car to the top. And there's incredible treks that you go. I think it's Cat Ba Village with like a water wheel that helps with what water wheels help with. There's aqueducts. There is just stunning things surrounding Sapa. It is out of a book. The food, there's this fruit there. It's the greatest fruit I've ever had in my life. That's not hyperbole. They have the greatest fruit, and I've only ever seen it there and randomly in this restaurant in Paris. I've never seen it again in the history of my life. I don't even know what it's called. It is the greatest fruit on earth. It's there. It's this little red kind of got bumps on it. Not anything like a raspberry, but like a bald raspberry plum, maybe? That could be a good thing of it. Also has kind of like a lychee taste, but more raspberry tart and plummy. It's incredible. So, and then the town itself, there's like this courtyard where everyone plays soccer, and it's kind of like where everyone gathers. There's a market. It's very small. It's in the mountains of Vietnam, and I forget how long it is from Hanoi, which Hanoi is a great place to visit as well. It would make this list if I already didn't have so many. I tried to keep the major cities off the list, and it's a major city, but go to Hanoi if you have the chance. That can be where you fly home from or into Asia from. Go to Hanoi, take the sleeper bus to Sapa. I remember it was like $15 to $20 to get a full sleep like bus, like a little mini bed in the bus. So it must have been like a 12-hour drive or something like that from there, or maybe 10 or 7. But it's worth it. It's remarkable. It's just out of a storybook. You have to go to Sapa. Third on the list of unique places you may have never thought to visit. I'm sure you've thought to visit this, but I am just reiterating. You have to go to Cusco, Peru. My third favorite region on earth. It's cheating a little bit because within Cusco, I'm also including the Sacred Valley and one of the New World Wonders of the world, Machu Picchu. So Cusco, the town itself, again, just the like Spanish tiled roofs, like that red roofs. There's multiple hikes up to ruins in the town. There's a overlooking kind of like Brazil's God statue. There's one of those. I forget what it's called now. And it's so cheap. It's a lot of it's on a mountain, so you can go to restaurants overlooking the entire city and have like a tomahawk steak, this giant steak for $20 or $25 with a remarkable view of town. So you can live like royalty, stay at some great places for really affordable compared to, again, like a Costa Rica, a Europe, North America, whatever it is. And like I said, it's the gateway to the Sacred Valley, which Google the Sacred Valley, you will see so many unique things, from the salt mines to circles in the earth, which I can't think of their names, a ton of beautiful, charming towns in the Sacred Valley. And then, of course, Machu Picchu, which is one of the most amazing places on earth. And actually, there's a town where you stay when you're in Machu Picchu that's called, it translates to like hot water or hot springs. Why can't I think of it? It by itself, the town. There's a river, two different sides of rivers that run through it. It is such an amazing town in itself. And then, of course, you're going to Machu Picchu. I love Peru, or I love Cusco, that whole area. Put it on your next list. I know it's hard to get to depending where you live, but once you're there, it's extremely cheap and it's a must visit. Number 2, unique places to visit that you must go, that not everyone goes to. Antigua, Guatemala. Antigua, as you can see, top 3 favorite places on earth. It wins just purely because it's one of the few places you can just go on a incredible hike up to an active volcano spewing lava and see eruptions in front of your face, like a football field away. It is spectacular. And this volcano and 2 others overlook the town of Antigua. So this is great because everything you do in Antigua is just, oh, look, there's erupting volcanoes in the distance. Hobotenango, if you're not a fan of Lord of the Rings, still go to Hobotenango and stay in a hobbit house where you get your own butler and great food. It's like $150 to stay at this place. They could charge $300. I would have done it to get your own little cabin with like a hot tub, a little roof, your own butler who like starts your fire for you and brings you your breakfast and will take pictures if you're a douchebag influencer. Um, it's speaking about me, by the way, just so you don't think I'm putting you down. Hobotenango, wow, I go on again. See that all on inspiretravelite.com. But Antigua also has remarkable restaurants. There's like farm to table restaurants. There are coffee plantations where even if you don't like coffee, it's just cool to walk around and see the coffee plantation in a good restaurant and get a espresso martini as you walk around it. With the volcanoes, you have these like rooftop places to eat and drink where you just have a view like you've never seen before. Again, as mentioned, you're just sitting on this rooftop as a volcano erupts. This is one in a lifetime type stuff. And of course, you have to go on that hike. And there are some hidden speakeasies. Like you go through a telephone booth into one, you go through a fridge in another. It really, you would never think this stuff would be in Antigua, Guatemala, or in Guatemala. And wow, it has so many surprises. Ridiculously cheap. Again, just like Cusco and Peru, you live like royalty, stay at great places, eat, drink, enjoy yourself. I love Guatemala. It's one of my favorite countries on earth, just again, because it's less visited than, say, Costa Rica, Mexico, Brazil, Colombia. It's wild. It's safe. Don't worry. Obviously, there's places that aren't safe. There's lots of places in the United States that aren't safe. But all the main tourist areas are safe. Like you go to Flores, which I already mentioned, which has Tikal, the really nice ruins. And yeah, and check out, there's a Lake Adelan, which another picturesque spot. It's the Lake Como of the Americas, of South America, Central America. You would never think it would be in Guatemala. And there's a bunch of cool little authentic towns surrounding Lake Atitlan. So Guatemala, go check it out. This should be your next trip because it's pretty easy to get to from the United States or Canada if that's where you're coming from. Obviously, I've listed a lot of places in Asia or Europe, harder to get to. You can fly to Guatemala, I think, direct for like 5 hours, depending where you are, maybe 4, maybe 3. Go to Guatemala, Antigua, second favorite city, place on earth. Number 1, it really is a crapshoot. I think Cusco, Antigua, and Siem Reap in Cambodia are at the top of my list for best, more unique, less traveled places on earth. Obviously, Siem Reap is well traveled, but that's for more like travelers versus people who go on vacation. Um, I don't know many people have been to Siem Reap. I don't know if I know one. You have to go. Is of course, home to Angkor Wat, one of the new wonders of the world, and it's like you dove into a National Geographic park, a National Geographic book. Um, it's wondrous. It's you go Angkor Wat, and then the next day you're in the little Zhuang wooden boats, like those boats you see in Asia, the little thin ones, going through a river in the jungle on the way to a floating village, and buy like stick houses on those giant sticks or those skinny sticks. It's just like something you've never seen before. The town is incredible. One of my favorite days of my life was there. Angkor Wat, you think it's just the one picture you see of Angkor Wat? No, there's 72 major temples and over 1,000 total temples in the Angkor Wat archaeological park. So I thought it was just going to be that one really cool view you see on Instagram. No, no, no. That's 1% of the size of this place. There's a moat. When have you ever seen a moat before? Um, you have to go. It it's wow. Again, so cheap. The culture, the food, the town. Um, I just love Siem Reap. So if you're doing a Asia trip, I'll end on this: Hanoi and Sapa. Fly into Hanoi or fly into Singapore. Go to Hanoi, Hanoi to Sapa. You can go to other places in Vietnam. Vietnam's incredible. Go to Vietnam a lot. If you have a chance, go to Luang Prabang. Siem Reap in Cambodia. That's another place you can fly into. It's pretty easy to get to. So make sure you hit those spots. Definitely Siem Reap, obviously. But your next trip, if you want something cheap, easy to get to, Antigua and Guatemala. Cusco and Peru. Peru's a little bit further of a flight, and you have to fly into Lima first, then fly to Cusco. So a little bit harder too. But hopefully I gave you some great places to visit. Something more unique than, oh, let's go to Paris or London or whatever. More to come. Check out my YouTube video, my YouTube channel, Fraser LeVay. My TikTok got banned because I had videos of my baby, and I think one had his like little cute butt out, and so then it was like, "This is your warning," and like another baby video, and you're banned. And I posted him goo goo gagaing in diapers and got banned. So my TikTok right now is down. Stupid, and I wrote in a complaint, a very upset complaint. But Fraser LeVay podcast, please subscribe and to the YouTube channel, inspiretravellead.com, or if you like sports, faneverland.com. Have a great day. Talk to you later.